Hello, hello, hello. This is Jay Frost speaking to you, of course, from Command Central at the Philanthropy Mastermind series. It is great to welcome you here to another episode of How to Raise, our CFRE accredited program, every Thursday or almost every Thursday this year. And of course, we have another great episode coming to you today on a really important topic. But before I introduce that, and of course, our guest presenter to you, I want to welcome you to this little gathering here today and encourage you, if you're here with us live, to participate as actively as you want, but hopefully that's very actively, especially with your questions. So you may have many of them today in either the chat or the Q&A. So if you'd open those up, we would love that, and just maybe help warm up the space by saying hello. It'd be great for not just for me, of course, but really most importantly for our guest presenter today, for her to know that you are here and to know maybe which part of the country or the world that you're from, where you work, that sort of thing. And I can see already we have Montana from Northern Illinois. So that took me a second to know that one was a name and the other was the place. Wonderful name and a wonderful place. And we also have Claire, who's coming into us from Tulsa, place I know from family. So I'm sure others of you will be joining right there. Oklahoma City. Wow, this is a gathering from certain parts of the country. And of course, we have Ann right there from the Bay Area, and Chris from Wichita. And I'm sure others of you, Santa Cruz, Laura, good to see you. Will be joining us right there in the chat. Please continue using that space as a place to play and to talk with one another, get to know each other. This could not be more important than it is today when we're going to be talking about giving circles, where getting to know people in your community, working together collectively towards supporting the things that you love and maybe are learning about for the first time are so important. And we can do some of that inspiring kind of gathering of ideas and people right in the chat today. So do continue using that throughout. We also have the Q&A, and I want to encourage you, if you have questions, to please post them there. There's always a risk that I might miss a question that gets lost in the chat, and I don't want to do that. So let's make sure that if you have a question, that ends up in the Q&A so we don't miss it, and that all the other conversation has a place right there in the chat for you. Additionally, I want to mention two other things. We typically have a slide deck, and I know one will be shared today. I'll find out from our presenter if that's something that can be shared with you. We will be sharing with you a recording of this session if you're here with us live. That'll be coming to you through an email that you'll get in the next couple of days with a link to the recording and potentially the slides as well. And there's one last thing, which is that you'll see a quick survey that happens as soon as you're about to close out. Please fill that out. That's our one and only way of knowing what you want to see and hear as we continue throughout the year and program for the year ahead. So please do fill that out. It'll take you only about 30 seconds. The more you tell us, the better. But anything at all you have to share is really welcome and extremely appreciated. Now, today, this program, of course, is brought to you by our friends at DonorSearch, who have been sponsoring this series for now. This is our 10th year. We won't be talking about them much today, though, unless our guest chooses to mention them for some reason. But that's not for any lack of appreciation. Once again, this is the 10th season of Philanthropy Masterminds programming underwritten by DonorSearch. And you can find recordings of this program and much more at donorsearch.net. Under the resources tab, we've also shared links in the chat to the YouTube channel. You'll see the little QR code where you can learn more about them as we close out today. And you can learn more about this series by simply going to their website and looking at all the content we've had there for at least the last 2.5 years, plus their YouTube channel. So check all that out if you would when we conclude today. Now, why are you here? You're here for the collective giving, harnessing the power of giving circles for your nonprofit. Giving circles are, to put it mildly, one of the fastest growing forms of philanthropy. And in an era where there are so many challenges to it, what an extraordinary thing to find this growing so fast. They bring people together to pool resources, make decisions collectively, and create greater impact. And in today's session, our guest, Tyeshia Wilson, Senior Director of Community at Philanthropy Together, an organization that, if you don't know already, you're going to learn more about now and you need to know, will show how nonprofits can adapt the giving circle model to engage donors, build stronger communities, raise sustainable funding, et cetera, et cetera. So whether you're a development professional, and I know many of you are, or a program leader, or a CEO, or a board member, you'll leave with practical strategies to integrate collective giving into your fundraising toolkit. And that's something you will definitely want to do, as you'll learn in the next few minutes. Tyeshia is a community organizer, a trainer, and a consultant, as well as a sought after speaker, as you'll see in a moment, on equity and philanthropy, politics, community engagement, and leadership. At Philanthropy Together, she leads global engagement strategy, connecting with Giving Circle leaders and members worldwide, and provides training through the Launchpad Giving Circle programs. So I won't take up too much time telling you her resume. I'm sure we'll have a link to that as we go along today. But I do want to turn the baton over with great pleasure to our friend, Tyeshia Wilson. Tyeshia?
What a awesome introduction, Jay. I need you on the mic introducing me all the time. Thank you so much for having me, Jay. And hey, y'all, happy October, all the things. Hopefully everybody is doing good today. I am so excited for this conversation. I've been waiting for it for a hot minute now. And I actually really, really love that. I was looking at the number of you all that have joined, and it's a small group, which is great because we really can make this conversational. I want to start off by just kind of making way for the space and the time that we'll have together. What I'll be talking about is something that I'm very passionate about, which is giving circles and collective giving and people and fundraising and all of that jam. But I just encourage y'all, like Jay said, this is our space, safe space with me. I'm very interactive. And so if I see questions in the chat and such like that, or if y'all give me some energy. If there is something that really strikes a chord, drop an emoji or something. I think that really helps all of us to really connect with what I'll share today. So just thank y'all for being here. Thank you for the opportunity again, Jay. And let's get into this amazing conversation that we're going to have. I'm good to share my screen, I think. So I'm going to share my screen and just at least just kind of get us started on the overview, our learning objectives for today. But let me tell you a little bit about my organization, Philanthropy Together. I serve as the, I'm sorry, can y'all see that? Let me make sure y'all can see.
We could.
Okay, perfect.
No, there we go. It's coming back.
We're good.
Perfect.
All right. We're good on tech. So I serve as a senior, as Jay mentioned, I serve as a senior director of community at Philanthropy Together. We are a small organization, but we've been around since 2020. We started smack in the middle of COVID. Our mission is very straightforward. We're trying to democratize and diversify philanthropy through the power of collective giving. And so what that looks like is we try to strengthen, we scale and strengthen collective giving globally by providing trainings, y'all, like this, speaking engagements, lifting up, amplifying the model of giving circles and collective giving. We tell stories of the over 4,000 plus giving circles. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, and counting, that's here in the United States, so that y'all know that they exist and what they're doing. We conduct research, which I'll get into also a little bit. Above all, we connect people. We bring people together and really help them to actualize and implement their generosity in a collective fashion. And so this conversation today is super important. I love this slide, and I always start with this slide because this really is the core belief of our organization is that everyone is a philanthropist, and collective giving is a movement that is for everyone. Doesn't belong to certain groups of folks, wealthy people, or the traditional narrative that we have around generosity and who gives. This movement is for us. It's for the people, by the people, and everyone has the capacity and the ability to be a philanthropist. Let's level set for a second. For our time today, though, I want to be clear about our objectives. I don't want to make any assumptions about where y'all are. Many of y'all are coming into this space as a recovering fundraiser myself. I understand the experience of a lot of you all that are fundraisers, but I don't want to make any assumptions on what y'all know about collective giving or giving circles. And so we're going to start off by just me sharing out what is a giving circle, why they matter, a lot of bit of the data, because data is helpful. And then we're going to shift. We're going to shift. There's some shifting of some fundraising narratives mindset that needs to take place. So we'll cover that. And then I'm going to literally go through about 6 to 8 tactical steps on how you, if you are working for a nonprofit organization and this model really speaks to you in terms of you wanting to diversify your donor base and you wanting to, maybe you have a group of donors and don't know what to do with them or how to engage, this might be a model for you to use. And so we'll talk about those tactical steps, and then I'll wrap up with just some resources that might be helpful for you all. But above all, I want y'all to walk away from this knowing how nonprofits can really harness this model, the fastest growing form of philanthropy that exists right now, which is collective giving, to raise funds, to deepen your engagement, and to really build and strengthen our communities, okay? So let's get into this first piece about what is a giving circle. Now, giving circles, a lot of folks, they're like, oh, Philanthropy Together, we love that y'all started this, y'all invented this concept. And as much as I love them flowers, they do not belong to us. Collective giving has been around, y'all. I mean, how many of you, y'all can get loud in the chat, but how many of you really have, from mutual aid societies, or, I know my grandmother would often, make plates and give to the church. And that's where I kind of learned my generosity. What I'm saying is that collective giving and humans have been leaning into generosity for forever. We've always taken care of one another, always. We just have not always institutionalized the concept of generosity the way that it is right now. And so we stand on the shoulders, Philanthropy Together, all the 4,000 plus groups that are organizing around this model. We really stand on their shoulders and this concept about people coming together to take care of one another that's really, really rooted in community and justice and collective action to take care of vital needs in our community. So that's super important for me to just frame. Now, you guys are gonna hear me. And by the way, I'm from Dallas. So if I say y'all a whole bunch, let's talk about it later. I apologize in advance. I just cannot get it out of my vernacular. It happens. But giving circles, y'all, you'll hear me say giving circles and collective giving, right? And so giving circles is just one expression of collective giving. So collective giving is like the mama bear. She's the umbrella. And up under collective giving, you have collaborative funds, you have investment circles, you have political giving circles, you have fundraising circles. Y'all know about Giving Tuesday. I know here in North Texas and Dallas, we just had our North Texas Giving Day, right? A lot of y'all have giving days in your community. Those are all expressions of collective giving, but for our time together today, we're exclusively talking about giving circles. Now, giving circles are truly collaborative social experiences for your donors, basically. It's very different than checkbook philanthropy, where folks just, give to your organization and going on about their business. This is different. This is really where you are connecting and bringing donors together to learn and to discuss issues and to give. So it really is a model that takes our financial, our minds, our talents very seriously and intentional, that makes for a more collaborative social experience because you can do it together, right? And so the end result and what we have seen and what I'm going to share with some of the data that I have is that you have this beautiful tapestry of diverse people that are coming together around their shared values and that are acting very intentionally, thoughtful, and strategic with how they are giving and how they are deploying resources to where they're needed in the community. And so it's a very simple concept. This is what it is in a nutshell, what collective giving, how a giving circle works. Group of people come together, normally around some shared values. Everybody gives their time, their money, talents, and beyond. The group has some sort of collective agency and decision making around that. It could be them deciding for it to go to a specific program, or y'all asking them about how they would like to utilize the resources. The end result is impact that is multiplied that can't be done by just one donor. So the groups are organizing in a way, and they're raising a lot of money for nonprofit organizations. And the model itself can be applied broadly to a lot of different areas. So giving circles here at Philanthropy Together, I know personally, I've trained and spoke to thousands of people around this model. We helped community foundations start giving circles. Last year, I helped a corporate partner start 21 employee-led giving circles. That was a time, but the model can be applied in corporate settings. Individuals are starting Giving Circle. I myself am a member and the former chair of a Giving Circle that was started by my best friend in 2017. And so we're seeing all the ways in how giving circles can be applied, especially in the sphere of nonprofits, specifically nonprofit-led giving circles, to really help sustain y'all organizations from a development fundraising stance. Now, we'll say this real quick, and I don't know, I can't see the chat, so I'll check the chat in a second if y'all had any questions have come up. Many giving circles, y'all, there's like kind of two giving circles, primary ways and how people are organizing around the model. You have your traditional giving circle, like the one that I just shared that I'm a part of, that my best friend started. Those are where groups of people come together, we pool our money, and then we deploy grants to a variety of organizations, right? There's not one organization that's just the recipient of our funds. And we fund different focuses, organizations that are focused on climate justice or women and girls or childhood poverty or whatever. A nonprofit-led giving circle, which is what we're going to be focusing on, is where you get a group of donors. They are collectively pulling their resources together, and you have an option. Y'all have an option to either keep those resources for your organization, and which is what a lot of nonprofit-led giving circles do. So you basically are organizing your donors to give to rather general operating funds or a specific project or a capital campaign or whatnot. Or we've seen nonprofit giving circles, they maintain a portion of it and also still allocate grants to some of their partners or whatnot. So those are the two different kind of ways and the differences of like a traditional giving circle, y'all, and a nonprofit-led giving circle. Now, all of the circle, both of those, the traditional giving circle and the nonprofit giving circle, they all follow the same kind of core themes or values. Remember, I told y'all, giving circles are really rooted in groups of people coming together around values. And so the first value of that organizing piece is belonging. To start a giving circle, you have to gather people, and that creates a sense of belonging. That belongingness comes by them being connected to your nonprofit. So in thinking about which we'll talk about a little later, of like the type of members that'll be a part of the giving circle, generally they're already connected in some type of way to your nonprofit. You're just creating a more intentional space for those group of donors to come to belong, and to stay connected to your nonprofit. Once the group kind of gathers, y'all, they come together, y'all have created this beautiful space of belonging. What happens next is one of the most unique aspects and themes of a giving circle, is that you have an opportunity to engage your donors in deeper learning and conversations, not only about your organization, because by the way, a lot of y'all donors, they know and they give to your organizations, but they don't know all of what y'all do. So giving circles are an opportunity for you to bring those donors together, for y'all to talk to them about your work, about the issues that your nonprofit is tackling, right, in an intentional, safe space. And it is very effective because they are learning. And when people are more connected and they're learning and in community with one another and having conversations about the issues and about the work that y'all are doing, the more that is engagement. And as we know, the more engaged donors are, the more likely they are to give. That's just facts. The third theme and the third value that really reigns true of giving circles, so we have belonging, learning, and conversation. The last one is where they give together. This is where, so after folks come together, they learn, they talk, they discuss, you give them an opportunity to then give to your nonprofit, or maybe to other nonprofits too, but that's where the collective amplified impact happens. And then we really don't stop there. Most giving circles, once those folks and the money is flowing into that pot of funds that y'all have, many of the donors want to do more. And that is something that is a powerful value of this model, is that your donors these are the donors that don't want to just give a check. They will show up to, I don't know, join committees, become board members, volunteer. They think about ways to really act in abundance of their gift, to engage in more amplified ways. Maybe y'all have heard the 5 T's, right? Maybe y'all heard the 5 T's? Okay. So like your treasure, your time, talent, ties, your testimony, these are all ways that can be actualized within the giving circle to engage and bring your donor and anchor them more in the work that y'all are doing. All right. And so that in a nutshell is what a giving circle is, what the concept, the values that's attached to it. We have this really cool website at it's called whatisagivingcircle.com. And so y'all can browse that, and it really in a very beautiful way, in a very concise way, shares a little bit more about the model, and then all of those kind of core themes and specific steps that I just shared. Now we are, I want to shift us a little bit to talk about a little bit about trends, y'all. Trends in philanthropy. What's going on in our industry? What's going on with philanthropy writ large, right? This Trends in Philanthropy report, have y'all heard of it? And y'all should check it out. Jay, I don't know why I can't really see the chat, but, oh, here it is. Okay, I'm gonna drop a link so y'all can take a look at it real quick. Or not, you don't have to take a look at it here, but I'm going to review some like high level, some of the themes that came up in this Trends of Philanthropy report, because it's relevant to what I'm talking about. Number one, because collective giving is on there. It's one of the 11 trends in philanthropy. So we definitely want y'all, and I encourage y'all to kind of take a look at it. I just dropped the link in the chat. But the Trends in Philanthropy report is really cool. It basically explores many of like the issues that's out there, attempting to really look at the pendulum swing into the future of philanthropy, what innovations, what we need to be doing as fundraisers and as philanthropists to address needs. And so the truth is that these are 5 of the top trends that popped up that I really wanted to amplify. And that is very true to like speak into the moment that we're in. And also why collective giving really, really is important, and why Jay even allowed me to have this platform to talk to y'all, because collective giving isn't going anywhere, y'all. Collective giving is the fastest growing form of philanthropy in the United States. It's expected to double in the next 5 years because the model is effective. And so it's timely that y'all, if this is the first time you've heard about collective giving circles, this is a great time for you to really explore it, because the truth is, other factors in that research in this trend report is that our nonprofit sector, as y'all know, is kind of in a crisis. Organizations are being asked to solve bigger challenges and with fewer resources. I know a lot of y'all are strapped for resources, and giving circles and creating these giving circles within your nonprofit organization are vital and key ways in how you really can leverage your donors and bring in more of them to support the work that you're doing. At the same time that our nonprofits and y'all have fewer resources, and it's just a lot going on in our sector, donor demographics are shifting. Y'all do know that we're going through the largest transfer of wealth right now, right? So leaning into the same aging donor base is not going to be helpful for you to sustain your organization in the future. We need younger, more diverse, more values-driven donors, and giving circles, we feel, are a great way for you to do that. But the good news is this, is that even with the change in demographics, what we are seeing, and I'm sure that y'all are saying the same thing, is that donors are hungry for something new. It's different. Donors are giving online, like the way that donors are giving is different. We see it in success days like Giving Tuesday, or North Texas Giving Day, where millions of dollars is raised within like 24 hours, right? People want to give and they want to do it together, though. That's the gag. They want to give, but they want to do it together. They want to see their dollars pooled, their voices heard, and their communities transformed. And so giving circles are a great way for us to leverage that. It really does bring back this narrative and the power to the people to really actualize their generosity. This is really where collective giving comes in. The data shows us that this movement is growing and everyday donors are proving their power when you can have 10 and 20 and 50 people pull their contributions together, and then suddenly that $100 gift adds up to like $10,000 and more. So that's the transformative like just the magic, I guess, of giving circles, is that amplified giving. And so I encourage y'all, if you're like a nerd like me that like to like, read reports and all that good stuff, I strongly encourage y'all to take a look at the In Abundance Landscape Research Report. Y'all can scan it with your phones, or you can go to philanthropytogether.org, because this landscape research report mirrors and it tracks with what the 11 Trends in Philanthropy report is talking about. You'll see a lot of shared language between those, but it all goes back to what I am driving home here: why this model is important, why y'all should consider it, what it is, and its impact. And let's talk about this impact, and before I get into our tactical steps on how you can actually start a giving circle. Collective giving, y'all, is growing, and I've mentioned that fastest growing form of philanthropy is going to double in the next 5 years. But look at this data. Does this surprise? This is so good, right? This is like everyday folks. I'm not a millionaire yet, but within my giving circle, I am amplifying my money and my gifts to the nonprofits like y'all that I want to give to. Right now, this movement, there's over 4,000 collective giving groups and counting. They're moving about 300 and they're mobilizing. It's about 370,000 people that are engaged in this movement, and collectively they're moving $3.1 billion, capital B, like Rihanna billion. And I love that for us, because we've actually seen since 2016, which was when this last research report came out, we've seen a 61% increase, which is why the statisticians are saying that it's going to double in the next 5 years. So we're seeing the movement is thriving, it's growing, y'all. It's expansive, it's effective. We want more of y'all to join, because this landscape research that I'm talking about, the findings are in our face, right? Collective giving is democratizing philanthropy. It is diversifying philanthropy. So if you are looking to engage in different type of donors outside of your major donors or the high net worth donors that y'all often target, this is the landscape research justifies that and validates the need of why y'all need to diversify your donor base. Collective giving is expanding what gets funded. For some of y'all organizations, think about the organization that serve like women and girls. Did y'all know that women and girls, they only receive like 2% of all of the $490 billion in philanthropic funds, 2%. So if your organization is one that's serving women and girls, you might want to consider this model, right? Because it really is expanding what types of organizations are being funded, which are oftentimes grassroots, local, community-based organizations like that needs the funding. It's also pushing the boundaries of how philanthropy is practiced. Think about what I shared earlier about how people want to give and they want to give together. So that's different than y'all, sending out mailers to one donor and then asking them to give. This is actually pushing us to consider ways in how we can bring donors together collectively to practice their philanthropy with others. It's also deeply impacting the members themselves. Generosity makes us happy, and I sometimes feel like we don't talk about that enough, right? Within our sector. Generosity helps us. It makes us wholer. It heals us. And that this landscape research talks about that. It talks about why nonprofits and corporations and community foundations should use giving circles, because something transformative happens within the members themselves when they are learning about issues, when they're connecting with other donors and have agency to say where those funds are deployed, and also see that their $100 gift is amplified beyond that, right? And the last finding is that collective giving is a catalyst for social change and cohesion. This is big because collective giving matters, because it's not just about the money, it's about belonging, it's about agency, it's about creating communities of donors where their voice and their contribution truly matters. And when we bring people together to give intentionally and collectively, that impact ripples far beyond the dollars that we'll raise. It really transforms individuals, it strengthens your organizations, and reimagines what philanthropy can look like when everybody is looked at as a philanthropist. I wanted to share this example of Giving Tuesday because I just ran across it. We partner with Giving Tuesday quite a bit. They're one of our local partners, but they are a nonprofit. Y'all know that Giving Tuesday is a nonprofit just like y'all. They this year have started to be more intentional about using giving circles and collective giving in action. And so this is a real world illustration of collective giving gaining momentum at scale. It's their community campaign accelerator. Just this year, they basically selected 36 organizations across 5 southern states to participate in a 3-year capacity building initiative to really expand those kind of local collective giving efforts. And the results are striking. When they leverage the power in this model that I'm sharing out today, they saw a 90% increase in local giving. When they went into the community and organized locally donors to give and pulled these organizations together, they saw 85% growth in donor engagement, and donors who give 20% or more stayed engaged longer compared to communities without these kind of regional, local level pooled campaign funds. And so I just want to share that as an example that really helps us to reframe collective giving, not just as a niche experience, but more like community infrastructure. So maybe y'all can look at this model as a way for you to build the community infrastructure within your nonprofit to sustain you and to bring your donors together. It really shows how nonprofits and local institutions can partner to host collective giving in ways that build civic engagement and trust and all of those other things. But y'all should check them out. It's like it's givingtuesday.org. It's under their 2025 Community Campaign Accelerator. And you can find out more of like how they kind of got the groups together and all of that. The shifting, okay, so we're pretty much I want to shift gears real quick. Now that we kind of know a little bit about, the future, like collective giving, what it is, why it matters, the impact, how folks are organizing, all of that. Y'all good on that, right? Give me a thumbs up in the chat to make sure y'all still with me. I'm looking in the chat. Just want to make sure y'all are still with me and I'm not leaving anybody behind in where we are. Now that y'all kind of know, I'm hoping when y'all walk away from this webinar, y'all know what is a giving circle. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Justin. Yes, come on, give me some love, y'all. Thanks, Claire. Y'all still with me. I want y'all to honestly, I'm so passionate about this model. I don't want to go, it was so important that I spent half of this webinar time anchoring y'all and bringing awareness around the impact and the people and what it is and why it's so important, because we can't go to like start a giving circle into tactical steps unless you truly, truly know what it is, right? And so this next piece of our conversation and our time together, I want to briefly talk about just the shifting mindsets to set your nonprofit up for success. If what I have shared and you're like, it's sparking an interest, maybe I can leverage and use this giving circle within my nonprofit or to help sustain us, okay? Well, one thing has to happen before you go on the journey to start your giving circle, and that is shifting your mindset just a little bit. If collective giving is the future, and we know it is, it's not going nowhere, as I said, right? Fastest growing form, expected to double in the next 5 years, then it's going to require us to think differently about how we approach fundraising. Just think about that for a moment. I used to work for big philanthropies and do fundraising and had those big portfolios where I did the segmenting and all of the stuff, y'all, all of the science. Fundraising is beautiful. It's a science. But if I'm being very honest, I would often target just a certain group of people. And my mindset was just thinking like, okay, higher earning, that's who I need to target, and that's it. This disrupts that, y'all. It really helps us to think differently about how we approach fundraising. It's no longer just about the dollars in the door. If y'all are not paying attention, philanthropy as a whole and fundraising is all about the relationships and belonging and building community. So I would like for us to kind of look at some of the shifting mindsets that's taken place with groups and nonprofits that have transitioned from a more transactional way of fundraising to a more relational way, where money is, yes, y'all, we need money. That's the end goal. But I promise you, if you focus on the people first, the money is going to come. And that's what this model is all about. It's knowing your donors, not through your CRMs and y'all clicking boxes and then running a report, but truly getting to know them through one-on-one interactions. Remember what I said earlier, giving circles are social collaborative experiences. So this is an opportunity for you and your staff and your EDs and y'all to really connect with your donors. It moves us from over-reliance of the same group of donors that gives every year, and then we wonder why sometimes they fall off, what happened to them, to more relationships. Let's open up the space with a group of diverse donors across all classes, across all ethnicities. Everyone is a philanthropist. It switches us from transactional of a blanket outreach to a more tailored messaging, depending on who we're talking to, right? And so that shifting mindset of starting a giving circle, a nonprofit-led giving circle to support your organization, will require us to really disrupt that typical mindset and ask these kind of 3 core questions of who are we asking to join us? Who are we asking? How are we asking? And what we are expecting from them. And if we approach what collective giving in our organizations will look like with this mindset, I promise y'all, based off my experience with starting nonprofit-led giving circles and all types of giving circles, it unlocks so much opportunity for us as fundraisers and as mobilizers trying to get people to give and to support the causes and the organizations that we care so much about. And so I encourage y'all, this is as we are thinking about who are we asking? Who are we asking to give, right? Don't make any assumptions on who can give. Never make any assumptions on who to give, especially if you're trying to start a giving circle. We want to kind of go broad, right? And also remember that, again, the future of your sustainability of your organization just may depend on your ability to connect with all donors, not just a limited few or certain other buckets of funding streams. This model is really to help you to engage with individual donors. And did y'all know that individual donors, 83% of them, of people worldwide, they donate in some kind of capacity, and many of them give $500 or less. So if we really are thinking about like people capacity to give, especially with inflation, cost of living is up, people can give. They just might be what we deem as low givers or low level. Those terms are, let's disrupt it. We got to get those narratives around everyday donors. They are capable of giving, but their money can be amplified if we create the spaces and the model, the infrastructure, like giving circles within your organization for them to amplify their givings. And it's also important for y'all to understand donor behaviors and to engage with them accordingly. Maybe this is no surprise to y'all, but as you were thinking about your giving circle, and if you're starting a giving circle within your nonprofit, donors are diverse. They are very motivated by their identity, their values and connections. So we just gotta, as fundraisers, shift our mindset of the dollar sign when we are thinking about and looking at our donors to more like who they are. They're very diverse humans who really, really want to give and to organize and to support organization that's in alignment with their values and that they truly have a connection with. So take the donors of color, for instance. I'm a Black woman, clearly. Y'all know many donors of color, community and heritage are key drivers for them. They want to give in relational, non-transactional way. So if that's what the data is telling us about how donors of color would like to be engaged, then a giving circle is perfect for this group. What about next gen donors? I have 5 kids. And so I'm raising the next generation and I'm a millennial. So I'm kind of in both of that millennial Gen Z. And so it's interesting. Tech enabled giving is key for this group. They want to engage beyond the dollar. They don't want to just give you their money and have no idea where it's going and what you're doing with it. They want to show up. And so again, a giving circle will work beautifully for you to attract next gen donors. And so just keep that in mind as you are thinking about the types of donors and such that you are wanting to engage and why you should engage those donors. The last piece with this is just, with that mindset shift is, disrupting who we ask, what we ask, and also what we expect. Whenever we are launching a giving circle, it's with this understanding that it is very mutually beneficial to not just the donor, but to you as an organization. And so with that in mind, we should be thinking about starting a giving circle should be a win. We shouldn't follow the money, focus on people, and shifting those expectations is not about just, just in one way and how a donor can show up. Expect your donors to do more. And so with that expectation, do you have the opportunity and the opportunity for them to do that, right? And so circles allow donors to give their time. Again, those 5 T's going to keep popping up for donors to grow, not only as philanthropists, but as leaders to help your nonprofit do the vital work. I'm going to check the chat real quick. And y'all, we are now into the last piece of our time together, which is, okay, now you know about the model, you know what it is, the impact. Some of I spread a little seeds on changing our mindset, which is very foundation, right? Let's open up our hearts to be more diverse, dare I say the word, but yes, to be more diverse and inclusive with philanthropy and how we are engaging, right? But now it's like, how? Okay, Ty, so I know, okay, I feel like I know what it is, but how? If I work for a nonprofit organization, how do I use this model? Tell me some practical ways and how I can really, in some concrete steps, how I can do to actually launch a giving circle. Well, we have about, I'm going to quickly go through these, and this is very, very easy, but I'm going to share in the chat this resource. I think I have here. Y'all let me know if you can open it. I'm going to put this thing in here real quick. And y'all, if y'all have questions, come on in here. Exactly. Jay just put it in there. But this is a good time for, if y'all have any questions about what I've already covered, or even just looking at this. These are the 6 key decisions. Now, I'm going to say this, that Philanthropy Together, we have a training. This is a 60-minute webinar. We might go over about 5 minutes just in case if y'all have any questions. But we have a training. It's called Launchpad for Nonprofits. It is a 90-minute training that I facilitate, and I literally go step by step through these. I give you a canvas. It's a free training. So if you truly are, this is just me giving y'all a little bite of the cake. So before you eat the whole cake, I hope you eat the whole cake by joining me at Launchpad for Nonprofits. but I did want to seed it here in our time. It made sense for me to kind of go through some of these practical steps. But I put in the chat this canvas. It's called, you can use it. You can make a copy, and y'all let me know if you can access it, if you have any problems with it. But essentially, you can use this. If you are a nonprofit leader, you're executive director, you're a program staff, I don't know, whatever role that you are, a fundraiser, you're part of the development staff, right? These are the 6 core questions that you would ask on your journey to start a nonprofit-led organization within your circle. I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly because I can, and just for time purposes, I wanna make sure we have time for questions or whatnot. But let's start with the first one. Why do you wanna start a giving circle? And that's why I started with my why. My organizational why is collective giving is important. This is very intentional. The first question to starting a nonprofit-led giving circle is for you to ask, why do you even want to start one to begin with? Is it to leverage more resources? Do y'all have a group of stagnant donors that you haven't engaged in a while that you want to engage with? Are y'all trying to position yourself? This is we call it the 4 Ps. Think about your nonprofit organization. Are you wanting to start a giving circle for your purpose, to democratize philanthropy, to maybe y'all rolling out a strategic plan that's, and you're trying to do more equitable, collaborative philanthropy, right? Is it the people? Maybe you're trying to diversify your donor base or bring in new donors. Maybe you're a new nonprofit and you're trying to reach as many donors as possible. It's the people. Is it the programs? Do you have a wait list for a program? Do you have a deficit for a program? And you're like, we're almost at the point of closing this program. And if we don't do something to fund it, it's going to lapse. So, right. Or are you trying to roll out a new program, right? Or is it positioning? Are you trying to start a nonprofit-led giving circle because you want to increase your visibility in community for your organization? You want to get yourself out there. There's many different ways and how people and why we have heard from nonprofits why they like this model, started the model, but it all starts with you. So that's the first piece, is just really, I'm sorry to go back. Why do you want to start a giving circle? Start there. The second one is, what is going to be the size and shape and level of my giving circle? Question for the crowd. Okay, perfect, Jay. What is going to be the size, shape, and level of giving for my giving circle? This is kind of like where you're like, all right, Ty, if I start a giving circle, how many donors? Do I just start with 5? Do I start with 100? You can. To know one giving circle is to know one giving circle. I pulled this slide so y'all can see the range. We have nonprofits that start with a small group. Remember, how you start is not how you have to end. So you can start like a small giving circle, tight-knit group. They can meet at your nonprofit. It can be existing donors, right, that you engage. Y'all can go 15 members, or our sweet spot that we like to recommend, start with 25 to 50, right? That's a good number for you to, depending on how many people, what the contribution levels for each of the donors give, you can yield quite a bit of pooled funds. Or we have groups that have 100 plus. We have nonprofit organizations that start large and want to start, maybe they have a capital campaign and they're like, we need thousands of donors. The size consideration depends on your own capacity as a nonprofit organization and the amount of money that you would like to raise. Not about the money, but it is something for you to consider, your size, because remember, pool funds, each person gives, so amplified, right? So the more members, that does help us with our bottom line. As we are thinking about the membership, who are these people? What kind of people would I even bring together? Well, culturally, you need to think about values. What are the values and cultural attributes that you want to, what's the vibe of the giving circle, basically, that you want to start? Do you want this to be fun? Is your organization kind of older and y'all like, whoa, we're a little stale with our donors. We need to spice this up. So we want to fun, more welcoming. We want to do engaging activities. Okay, great. Identify first those cultural value attributes. From there, you can then think about, will this giving circle go to support programs or general operations? Is it going to focus on a certain group? Is it going to focused on a certain geographic area. Maybe your nonprofit serves 20 counties, but in one county, y'all have 0 donors. And you're like, we really need to go into that demographic area or that geographic area. And so maybe starting a giving circle will help us with that, right? And so this is kind of like the membership shape and basically the circle design. Who are these members? And so Ashley, sorry, I like to read comments live. For Young Lives, a focused ministry of Young Lives. Okay. Yes. And Jay, thanks for asking that question. I think it's, our why, the why we are interested in starting giving circles is so important. And also, as you were thinking about the circle design, what does it even look like is also equally important, right? And so these are just ways. This is the power of the collective. I did a little girl math for y'all today. Remember I told y'all like the range of like 15 to 100. Well, this is what it could look like monetarily for y'all, for your organization. Let's just say each member gives $100. 15 people give $100. This is what you have. We can do the math. I'm not gonna go through all of these, but y'all see that? So if you were trying to, I know a nonprofit that had that needed to raise $100,000. Okay, well, do the math and work backwards. Maybe you can 50 people can give $1,000 and then y'all double it, like however way. But this is just really allowing y'all to see the power of a pool fund, dependent times the amount of members that you have. Now, these contribution levels vary. Every circle is different. We have circles that give $25 a month or $30 a quarter. That member contribution levels is totally up to you. You do the math, member contribution levels, how many donors that we are targeting, that can help us yield this amount for this program or for our general operations or whatever. Where are you going to find these members though? Where are these folks? Where are you going to find these members? Where do you find them? Well, why don't you start first with your existing volunteer donor base? That is very important. First, do an audit of your existing individual donor base. See where the gaps are. See who's underengaged. See where the opportunity is at. Who have you not talked to? Who do you need to talk to, right? And so take a look at your existing donor base, right? And then think about within your organization, if you start a giving circle, are y'all going to start this within the development staff? Is it going to be on the program team? Maybe y'all have ties and connections with local groups and associations or partners or some of your networks, or using the power of social media to really, really find leaders first to really help bring and to get the giving circle started. Now, the leaders of the giving circle also can double as members, but you will need either a staff person, and I say volunteers because some of y'all nonprofits are very slim. Y'all have like 2 people working at your organization, right? And you can't do everything. So this is for y'all who don't have the staff members. These are other ways and how you can think about who can help, what resources that you need to help you to bring this circle to life, right? And these are kind of some of the ways. Start with those most passionate supporters. We know the power of connections and kind of what that look like. And so this is just a visual of that prior slide of starting with your most passionate supporters as it relates to starting your giving circle and then building it out all the way to the more informal, maybe cold connections that y'all have. How would the members experience the giving circle? Remember what I said earlier about the values, about the learning and conversation. Many nonprofit-led giving circles, they start and their members experience the circle through discourse and education. So finding opportunities for you to immerse members into your mission. You can bring in guest speakers. You can facilitate collective conversations. How are you going to educate the members around the causes that you support? Remember, the more that they are engaged, the more that they learn about the issues and the work that you're doing, the more they're likely to give, and give often and give well. I'm going to skip this slide for now. If you are a nonprofit organization in this model and you're like, whoa, can I sample this? Can I try, can I do like a pop-up giving circle, like a short-term mini giving circle? Yes, you can. We have a toolkit. It's called a pop-up giving circle. We've done this many times. Did y'all know y'all can do like a 2-hour pop-up giving circle? just to try it. You can sample it before you decide, oh, wow, we raised $10,000 in that two hours. So then, yeah, let's do it. Let's do a long-term giving circle, right? And so at philanthropytogether.org, we have a resource. Thanks, Jay. We have a resource that says pop-up giving circle. You can find it. It has a toolkit. It has a sample agenda, all of that. We're into the last two core decisions, and I know we're almost at time, but how will we structure and manage the giving circle? When you decide on the why, the circle design, what are we going to focus on? Why are we doing this? How are we going to find the members and the people to join the circle? You also need to be thinking about, well, how are you going to manage it? Who's going to be doing what? Right? And so giving circles within a nonprofit-led organization is just like, I don't know, like our advisory boards. You can have community leaders or your volunteers that are running a giving circle where you give them agency to lead the circle, and maybe they can help with the comms or whatever the case is, or you might designate a chair or a co-chair. Some nonprofit-led giving circles have co-chairs and chairs where they divide and conquer and bring the group along. Or you might have a committee, or maybe your board can manage the giving circle. It's all up to you. These are just various ways in how you can structure. I can't go into the nitty gritty details of all of them, but at least I want to give y'all a seed of what this can look like. Or do you have, or you staff, you and your staff, y'all have the full capacity? You're like, no, we have a full-time development person. She can run the giving circle. She can make sure the funds come in. Follow up with donors, schedule the meetings, all of that kind of stuff. So again, this is a range from a nonprofit, a giving circle that's completely led by nonprofit staff or led by volunteer. It just depends. And those staffing management responsibilities it varies as well. Within a nonprofit, y'all might do some light liaisoning work if it's led by the members or a community leader, or if you literally are your nonprofit is staffing and organizing the giving circle, you'll have more responsibility, larger management responsibilities to ensure that the circle sustains. And this last piece, the last core decision about how will you keep your members connected? Like, so now they've joined the giving circle, they're in, they're like, I love this. I love what this giving circle is doing. I'm connected with it. Well, just think about these three things and we can wrap up here. People like to engage with organizations through three ways: giving, doing, and communicating. And so you providing them the opportunity through membership activities like site visits for them to come see, networking opportunities, maybe book readings that's tied to some of the issues that y'all are around, engagement, giving, doing, and communicating, and then aligning up your membership activities all matter as it relates to the sustainability, which actually happens year-round within your giving circle. Members are going to come in, members are going to come out. The average time span of a giving circle member is actually 7 years, y'all. So most donors, so think about it. If you are wanting some donors that are loyal and committed, giving circle members are. The average time is 7 minutes, okay? Jane, we'll see you later. I know you have to run, and I know some of y'all do have to run as well. I'm gonna wrap us up on a few resources, and then I'm happy to stick around in case y'all have any other questions. But this last slide of like how to sustain your circle beyond the dollar, I've talked about it quite a bit, about the 5 T's. I just wanted to put it on a slide in terms of like, how do you really sustain a giving circle? I promise you, if you think about these 5 pieces, how people can give their time by way of volunteering, how they can advocate, can they share your posts and your work on their social media that brings more attention to your organization. Maybe some of them are skilled marketing folks, and they can help leverage y'all marketing and such like that by way of their skills, right? Maybe some of your giving circle members have ties. A lot of folks, we have connections and deep connections with other people. Maybe they can connect you with another funder, right? And so just think about the 5 T's as it's related to your giving circle. I'm going to send this out when Jay send y'all that juicy email with the recording and all that. This 5 steps, the next steps to lunch, it talks about exactly all the things that I just covered, but we'll send that out with the recording, the canvas, and then this next step. And then I think I just want to end with just this one example of a nonprofit-led giving circle that started. And I love them and they did very well. They're called Black Girls Smile. They are a nonprofit organization that provides mental health services for Black women and girls. They reached out to Philanthropy Together saying, hey, we have like 2,000 girls on our wait list. And we've heard about giving circles. Would love to know if that's something that we can do to kind of attract donors because we have a lot of girls that are in need of mental health services. And so I work with them, their team, and we started their Give Us Our Flowers giving circle for Black Girls Smile. The end result, basically, members were able to come in, choose their level. That we started the giving circle off monthly campaigns, and members were able to give. The circle members were able to give amount monthly that they found significant. And the end result was they got a lot of those girls off that wait list by starting the giving circle within their nonprofit organization. I love them. Shout out to Black Girls Smile. But that's just, I wanted to end because talking about the steps, but actually seeing a nonprofit organization that actually started one might be of great help. I'm going to share my resources. Y'all, remember I told y'all that Philanthropy Together, one of the things that we do is we provide trainings and all of that stuff. We want to support y'all. Please, if you don't know, if you've never heard about Philanthropy Together, please learn more about us. Go to our website. You can sign up for group coaching with me. And again, Jay, I'll send this over to you so that you can send it out to folks. I'll love to see y'all at a future training that we have. So that y'all can really get the steps and learn more about. Thanks, Jay. Around that, we have a resource library and all of the above at philanthropytogether.org. Jay, I really, really appreciate the opportunity, brother, for you to have me here to really talk about the power of collective giving. And as we wrap, Claire, Gwen, Dana, all of y'all that are still here, I really just I know I kind of powered through this and I appreciate the space so much. I never take this stuff for granted, but if I could leave you with one or just a few takeaways is first, giving circles are more than a fundraising tool. They truly are a way for us to work together to democratize philanthropy and build belonging for our donors. Second is that the transition from transactional to relational fundraising is vital. We need that, y'all. That's going to allow us to really engage donors in deeper, more meaningful ways. And third, nonprofit giving circles are not only possible, they're powerful. I promise you. And so I would love to build one with y'all. If this was interesting to you, if you need support, want to learn more, if this just sparks something with you, let's talk. And remember, collective giving is really moving from me to us. And all the money in the world won't save us, but I truly feel, and my boss, Satter, she did a beautiful TED talk about giving circles. We truly feel that our community can. So thank y'all so much for your time, commitment to reimagining philanthropy with me in this short time today and harnessing the power of collective giving for collective change. So thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Tyeshia. And before anybody goes, if you have questions, this is a great time to field them. And while you go ahead and insert maybe one or two of those in the Q&A, Tyeshia, would you mind taking down your slides so people can see it?
Of course, friend. Yes, I'm so sorry.
And then while folks put anything they might have in there, I want to just share what's coming up next in the series really, really quickly. On this Friday, that's tomorrow, October 3rd, the new episode of the PM podcast is going to feature my conversation with Bill Tedesco, who's the founder of DonorSearch, the company that's been underwriting this whole series for the last 10 years. It's the first chance most people will have had to really hear about who he is and where he comes from. Check that out wherever you listen to podcasts. That'll be launched tomorrow night. And then on Tuesday of next week, we have something that's really topical. Our Frontlines of Social Good show, which always deals with the news and the top gifts of the week and interviews, will have some folks who are talking about the Soros Foundation and foundations under fire. If you've been following what's happening from Washington and the pressure that's been put on foundations around the country, you'll be very interested to know how people are responding in the foundation world. We'll have a lot on that on Tuesday. And then that's Tuesday at 1 p.m. And then, of course, next week, instead of how to raise, we have a full 2 days of something called Virtually Unstoppable. which is the first user conference, and it's all virtual for DonorSearch. But there's a lot of content, whether you're a DonorSearch user or not, that you may find of interest, which is about fundraising. And so all of that's available to you. Just check out the Virtually Unstoppable link on the DonorSearch site, and maybe Jack can grab that and put that in the chat. Now, I want to go to the questions here. I know we had one from Jane, and she's gone, but it's a really good question. So maybe we can field it. And that's, if you have any models where giving circles are endowed. So have you been in a situation where they've raised money and then they've held onto it so it would grow?
Wonderful question. Actually, I took the slide out because I was like, oh, I had to like greatly reduce the slide. But absolutely, the one that comes to mind that you should check out is the Los Angeles Latino Giving Circle. They're hosted by the Latino Community Foundation. It's based in the Bay Area. They started a giving circle solely for endowment, literally for endowment. So again, Jay, and even Jay, I know she's gone, but for all of y'all, this model is so broadly applicable, right? So whether you are starting a circle to sustain a specific program, to start jumpstart or endowment, to diverse, right? There's endless ways, win-win for your organization as well as for the donors when you leverage this model. But yes, check out the Los Angeles Latino Giving Circle. They have a website and it's on the Latino Community Foundation, and they have like a nonprofit-led endowment fund.
Thank you for that. And I know that, in fact, you gave an example at the end with one giving circle that you know really well. You just listed this one for the Latino Giving Circle in LA. And that's something that you touched on, but I've heard you and Sara and others talk about throughout all of Philanthropy Together, which holds an annual conference too.
We do.
And that is that the culture of the team you build is really, really special. And it could be just a few people that you know from work, like the work circles that you mentioned earlier.
That's right.
Or it could be a bunch of people in your community where people, have some kind of commonality, whether it's because everybody came from a certain part of the world, or they just, all went to school together, or whatever that thing is. And so there are lots of ways that you can start this. And all of those models are ones that you have covered so eloquently in this conference. So when is the next coming
We
next
Give
conference?
Summit. Yes, Jay, you did your homework. Yes, y'all. We host an annual virtual convening. It's free. It is one of my favorite times of the year. It's always held in May. We don't have the dates just yet. We're literally vetting, looking at other conferences, making sure there's no conflict, but it will be in May 2026, and it's called the We Give Summit. And I strongly encourage y'all to check out our website at wegivessummit.org. All of our previous past 5-year summits are there. So much content, so many topics around, from trust-based philanthropy to community leadership. Like, it's just, there's so much content. So thank you for amplifying that. And I also want to just double down on yes, Jay. There's so many different ways and how people are organizing around this model, from corporate giving circles. Did y'all know Toyota has over 21 giving circles, right?
Wow.
We're seeing police departments start giving circles, Jay. We are seeing our youth, our babies on college campuses start giving circles. We're seeing them happen. And that's why, for the purpose of this webinar, we wanted to focus on the nonprofit and how y'all can kind of use it from a fundraising stance, but it's so broadly applicable because it's all about the people. It's about bringing people together. So
this is something we can talk about more another day, but I just want to give you a chance to say something about why this is important to you. So why do you do this? Because clearly you've gotten a benefit, a personal benefit. This isn't just professional and seeing the whole sector grow. This is meaningful to you. Why?
Thanks, Jay. I personally, I mentioned earlier, I'm a mother of 5. I'm a first generation everything. First person to own a home, first person to have access to a college education. So for me personally, not only is this something, this is a movement that I professionally and personally believe in. It's effective. I've seen it by way of being a part of a giving circle myself. It changed my trajectory, Jay. I had never, prior to joining Heritage Giving Fund, that's the name of my giving circle, I had never really exercised my philanthropy like that. I mean, I did, but not in the more intentional social way where I'm really learning about issues that affect women and girls. My advocacy changed, my lens changed, my trajectory, my mindset shifted. And that is my why, but then also my children. So now that I have been exposed to this model and now I'm leaning into generosity, I'm learning about the important work that nonprofits are doing, why we all need to be generous. I want to teach my babies. And so for me personally, I want to model this. I am a philanthropist. I have an 8-year-old. He's the baby, and we give. And I love that he even knows how to say the word philanthropy. I didn't know that. Like my mom and grandma and them didn't say, oh, well, we are philanthropists. They just didn't use that language. And so it's a legacy thing for me and my babies. It's a personal, it's tied to my own happiness and how I contribute to the world. So I can talk on and on about that. But honestly, truly, it's personal because it's tied to my legacy and it's tied to how I want to show up and show up and contribute to the world. I want to give.
And maybe one last question. I always ask guests this, which is if you had one thing that people are going to remember and do and activate, what's the one thing that you think people should go and do if they're really interested in giving circles?
If they're really interested in giving circles, I want y'all to check out Philanthropy Together. Honestly, we exist. We are the only organization, Jay, that exists that focuses on scaling, strengthening, creating this movement of giving circles. And so you don't have to start alone. If this sparks something with you, you want to learn, maybe you're at 201, maybe you're at 001, 101, wherever you are in your journey with this model, we can be a resource to you. And we can meet you right where you are and wrap you up with resources, with just time, coaching, just in conversation about it. So please consider Philanthropy Together as a partner. That will be my one takeaway. Learn more about us and then let's connect.
I got to make one observation because it was in the chat too, which is that you said y'all a lot, which
I
I love.
know.
No, but the thing about that is, you know what y'all is? I mean, we know what it means. It means you
I'm
all.
trying to get off of
And
it,
talk about
Jay.
inclusive. That's what this whole movement is about. And that's what you've been modeling the whole time. So I'm grateful for
Oh,
that. Thank you, Tyeshia Wilson. Really great to have you. So glad that you could share all this with us. Thank you, everybody who's here with us live. Thank you to the people who are watching this later and having that impact. And make sure you check out the rest of the content over at DonorSearch.net, including all of our sessions here, including, of course, our conversation with Sarah Lamaling, who is Tyeshia's colleague. You can check all that out once again at DonorSearch.net. And for those who are live, you'll see an email come to you. Be on the lookout for that, for those links that she mentioned a few minutes ago. So until next time, everybody, take care.
take care, y'all. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.